Down comes the rain as we return to Wanneroo, and Jim Richards spinning out as he goes through the bottom corner in car number 1, the Mobile BMW. Goodness me, the action's coming thick and fast here. Now the track is as slick as anything. It's really pouring down here.
Not just pouring, it's torrential. Goodness me, Alan Moffat spears off the road, highlighting once again why on earth are people standing by the side of the racetrack. Goodness me.
Well, Moffat had just passed in the previous lap Larry Perkins and was making such a good run. Goodness me, there's Jim Richards again.
They'll have to come in for wets. Perkins has come to the pits. If he can get wet tyres on, Tony Noski is off in the Kalari entry. Andrew Bagnall has come in. Longhurst has spun his car. Mayhem at Wanneroo.
Oh, look at this.
It is absolutely teeming rain as Peter McLeod sprint cars his way onto the pit straight. Oh, off go the two
leaders. Goodness me, Johnson and Bow both off. Can they recover? Yes, Bow can.
They go straight to the pits. They've got to go to the pits.
Must do. Murray Carter as well.
It even suggests they may
Andrew Madecki. Carter's staying out there.
Okay, Perkins has gone back out of pits. Look at, that's Murray Carter trying to drive in a straight line. There's so much water on the road, it's an impossible task. The crowd can't believe it. We can't believe it. Okay, so Dick Johnson for full wets. Now, the difficult thing here is I can still see sunshine in the background. It's very likely that they may have to make another rubber change before the end of this race as Colin Bond goes off on the Caltex Ford Sierra at the bottom of the straight. There must be something on the track there other than just water, that these guys are too experienced. And someone else joins him as well. In fact, it's Longhurst.
Nudge the fence, Longhurst as well. They're having a hell of a time getting out of this position.
Total ridiculous mayhem. John Bow to the pits. We need about 338 cameras to cover all this.
It's all happening so fast. The rain broke and came down in torrents, almost, well, not without warning, because we did mention several times.
Red flag is out.
Race has stopped. Race has been halted.
Well, that was, I'd say, a pretty sensible decision by the clerk, of course. There's outrageous things going on all around the course. It's dangerous for all competitors, all spectators and officials. And the Confederation and the clerk, of course, have done the right thing.
Goodness gracious me.
Gerald Kay trying to figure out which way is up. Larry Perkins spots the red flag. I've never seen anything like this in my entire motor racing life. It all happened on lap 15 of 45. Round 4 of the Shell Ultra Australian Touring Car Championship.
Things were going so well for Dick Johnson and John Bow at the head of the field.
As we went to the break, we had Dick and John leading.
And sunshine.
Yeah, perfect sunshine. We gave you 3 minutes to go away and have a cup of tea. And we've served up the greatest amount of mayhem you could possibly have.
That was just unbelievable. You're right about the track. There must have been something else out there.
Because those guys don't make those mistakes.
No. And they were going off every which way.
You know, even though it was knee-deep in water there at one stage in pit straight, Alan Moffat's stricken ANZ Ford Sierra, not a good way to come back to business.
Well, let's just take a look at part of the action again. These were the race leaders, Dick Johnson and, his car number 12 going off. That's Peter McLeod. It really happened so fast. We were hard put. Here we are. Here are the race leaders. Dick Johnson, John Bow, the pair of them. And they were fortunate that they managed to escape the deeper part of the sand trap there.
How lucky was John Bow? He just gassed it up and said, I've got to get out of here. Details on the NEC replay as Jim Richards' car is being towed out of the sand. Plenty of it here in Western Australia. Goodness me. So, as I said before, Dick was leading as Murray Carter tries to dig the Netcom entry out of the sand. We had John Bow second. We had Andrew Madecki in third. Tony Longhurst was fourth. Colin Bond was fifth. Lap 15 of 45. The rain came down and the place became a complete nightmare. In fact, John Farrell's car, which had pulled to the infield a lap earlier, has probably been the luckiest break of his life. There's John Bow. His youngsters, his twins, in fact, turning 6 today. They probably aren't too impressed in Tasmania at the moment watching Dad sit in the pits.
Yeah, I had a fleeting glimpse of him waving a birthday card out the window just prior to the start of the race. Well, they'll be happy at least that he survived that little spin-off in the wet. And they're all back in the pits now, assessing what damage, if any, has been done. And
I'll notice that
changing to wet weather tyres now that it's stopped raining and the sun is coming out, getting ready for a restart. Well, let's get down to Peter McKay, who's in the pit area. We can find out what's happened, what they're going to do about the restart, what race distance it's going to be when they restart.
Well, pit lane, as you can see, is very, very busy at the moment, with every car in the Touring Car Championship field in for wet weather rubber for what might be a complete restart. I think we'll just go across and have a chat with John Bow, who might throw some light on what sent all the cars off in the first corner. John, what was it out there? Just a rivulet of rain?
Well, Peter, it started raining, and while the tyres are hot, you've got some semblance of grip, but as soon as the tyres cool down, I mean, it's just like driving on ice or something. I turned the steering wheel doing about 10 mile an hour and just went straight ahead. I couldn't believe it.
Well, what the problem is now, of course, is the sun's out. So you guys are putting on wet weather rubber, but in all likelihood, it'll be a track suitable for slick tyres in, what, 10 or 15 minutes?
Well, probably so, yeah. You know, everybody makes jokes about Tasmanian weather, but this Western Australian stuff's not that flash, is it?
No, you're right there. Neil. Well, chaos and indecision reigns in pit lane here at Wanneroo. Peter, what are you going to do? The sun's coming out. You've got the choice of slicks and wet weather rubber, of course.
Slicks.
Back to slicks.
Slicks. Slicks. I'm a slick man from way back, although I must admit that I was faltering a little bit there on that lap before they came into the pits. I was in first gear doing probably 40k, I guess, and the car was totally out of control. I was just happy to sort of get back to the pits. Yeah, I think it's going to turn into slicks. It's you can zig when you should zag around here, of course, with that sort of weather. It's a bit like in Queensland, I guess. But at the moment, it's definitely a set of soft slicks, and get out there and go.
Well, the problem is, of course, it may rain a little later.
Yes, well, you're forced, I think, still to get that dry line, get the slicks, get some heat to the temperature into the tyres, and then try and hang out there. Just then, it was just that little bit too heavy for slicks. Well, quite a bit too heavy for slicks, I guess.
OK, can you work that out? We've stopped the race because it's raining and all the cars are on slick tyres, so we have a quarter of an hour break, and now they're going to go out and restart the race on slick tyres.
Yes, it's time to get ourselves confused, Pete.
And don't you love Rocky's new hat, Neil?
Astro Boy. That's the new nickname for Mr. Brock.
All right, let's just recap again for you. Dick Johnson was the race leader at the time the red flag went. Well, actually, he wasn't the race leader when the red flag went out because he'd spun off, hadn't he?
Don't confuse
me.
Dick
Johnson was leading after 15 laps from John Bow, followed by Andrew Madecki, Tony Longhurst, Colin Bond, then Larry Perkins and Alan Moffat. And then, as we said, the rain came down and mayhem followed. There's Larry Perkins' car. Larry is one of those people that got it into the pits unscathed, Neil.
Yeah, Larry did a good job, and he was just literally cruising around when the red flag finally came out. And of course, the difficult thing now is to try and work out what the right way is to go. There's going to be more rain, no doubt about that, but it'll be punctuated by some sunshine. And is this race going to be 5 laps, 10 laps, 15 laps? We don't know. We're still trying to determine that from the clerk of course and from the controlling body of motorsport in this country, the Confederation of Australian Motorsport, and they've got a big problem on their hands as well.
I still can't get over the sight of Murray Carter aquaplaning sideways down the main straight. Quite incredible. Larry Perkins, we just saw on screen, has now been joined by Peter McKay. Let's get back down there.
At lap 50. Give me book back. Give me bloody book.
There's a great argument going on here. We have Larry Perkins looking at his lap chart. We have John Large, the president of CAMS, in attendance. And there's some doubt as to whether the race should be a complete restart. Obviously, the CAMS thought is that it should, but Larry isn't quite so sure.
Well, my pit information says I completed my 14 laps, and the rules say, I'll read it, prior to the completion of 14 laps, the race may not be rerun. I mean, the race can't start from scratch again. It's quite clear, there it is. So, I mean, I don't want to sit here arguing. I'm trying to win a race, but I only hope they do follow the rules.
John Large, have you had a look at that?
Yes, the official position is that the red flag came out on lap 13, which means there will be a complete restart. I don't know whether Larry didn't see it till lap 14, but it came out on lap 13, for sure.
OK, that seems to be resolved. Back to you, Neil.
I don't know whether there's enough fingers and toes to count those laps.
Our lap scoring's fairly sharp up here. In fact, we had a CAMS delegate with us doing the lap scoring, and the numbers don't add up, I'm afraid, Mr. Large.
No, it was definitely lap 14.
Well, oh yeah.
Well, anyway, we're not going to win that argument, nor is Larry Perkins. It's going to be a complete restart, which means that they will run 45 laps once they get up and running. And we should prepare you for the fact now that you're not going to see the conclusion of this race in our telecast time.
We'll beat out the result on our tom-toms.
Well, this is just an amazing Totally amazing situation, and even the drivers are nonplussed. Even they can't figure out exactly how all of this occurred. It wasn't just a question of wet weather and changing to slick tyres. Maybe the racing that the track had earlier in the day, there was a lot of build-up of grease deposits, some oil maybe, but the way they went off the track when the rain came down, and it was very heavy, there's no doubt about that, and on slick tyres it would have been difficult under normal circumstances. Welcome back to wonderful Wanneroo, where we're getting set for a restart in round 4 of the Australian Touring Car Championship. The previous 13, 14 or 15 laps, depending on your lap scoring, have been wiped off the books altogether after all those amazing incidents, and it will be a complete new race over 45 laps. The previous encounter will count for nothing. However, what that means, of course, is that, as I've indicated previously, we are certainly not going to see the conclusion of the race within our telecast time, which runs out in about 20 minutes from now. Now, for Sydney viewers and New South Wales viewers, we will be replaying this race in full tonight after the movie instead of Falcon Crest. Sorry about that if you're a Falcon Crest fan, but after the movie in Sydney tonight, you will be seeing a replay of this round of the Touring Car Championship. All other states, do not despair. We're endeavouring to make the best arrangements possible at this moment, and as soon as we've got it all nailed down, we'll let you know what the situation is there regarding replays in other states. But for Sydney, replay after the movie tonight. Okay, let's wipe the slate clean and get started once more. Off on a warm-up lap or two.
Well, I don't know, there's even an argument about that down there at the moment. Frank Gardner discussing life with the President of the Confederation of Australian Motorsport, Mr. John Large. Some guys then weren't sure whether they get one warm-up lap or two. Some guys sat on the grid and then everybody was flagged away.